It is super important to keep your word. It's super important so that others will trust you and build confidence in you. But even more than that, it's super important because you build trust in yourself, in your own self-worth. Is related to how much you keep your word to yourself and to others. And here's the thing, we all break our word sometimes, I think, some more than others, but if you turn around and acknowledge that to the person you broke your word with, if it's with yourself, acknowledge it, maybe out loud, maybe in writing, at least mentally make an acknowledgement of it. Like, okay, I dropped the ball on that. I didn't follow through. I didn't keep my word. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to keep my word the next time. If you follow through when you don't keep your word, and then you do better the next time. I mean, if you just consistently don't keep your word, then eventually your words about doing better next time start to mean jack nothing. But if you're just now and then breaking your word because things happen, maybe you forgot, maybe something else conflicted and you had to make a choice between two things and you didn't end up keeping your word on something, or you missed a deadline, acknowledge that and then move on and do better next time. And here's another important factor about keeping your word. Did I say hi? I'm Angel, by the way. Thanks for stopping by. Another important factor about keeping your word is that you shouldn't give your word unless you're sure you can keep it. Don't just frivolously say you're going to do something if you know you're not going to do it. And that has to do with being deceptive, even not like giving a promise per se, but just intentionally misleading people. I'm thinking right now of one of my bandmates who right now is intentionally not telling the rest of my bandmates that I'm not going to be at practice because he doesn't want them to flake out on practice. But the thing is, they probably would have came anyway if he would have made that clear. And by intentionally deceiving them, he's lessening his credibility a little bit so that we all know that he might not tell the whole truth now when it comes to band practice and who's coming. And that's unfortunate. It degrades the relationship between everyone and himself. Maybe not consciously, maybe not to himself. I don't know. But to me, when I know that somebody is intentionally deceiving me or intentionally deceiving others, then I can't help but make a mental note that they're the kind of person that might intentionally deceive me. And so that makes their word worth a little bit less to me than the flip side is when I have a friend that I know will tell me a hard truth even if they don't want to, but because they don't like to be dishonest if asked or if put on the spot of the truth, they'll tell the truth accurately as far as whether they can do something or not do something or intend to do something or not, and that they will follow through if they've said they're going to do something. They will do their best to do that. I have friends like that, and those friends I trust very much because I know that their word is worth something to them. So it's worth something to me. And I aspire to be that kind of person myself. I really try not to give my word, as far as like say I'm going to do something unless I'm sure that I can do it. I give a lot of maybes. I give a lot of no's. I give a lot of I'd like to, but not today's. And then those things that I say, yes, I'll do that. I even if something gets an obstacle comes up that tries to get in my way from doing that, I will push pretty hard to overcome an obstacle if I've given my word. Now, of course, there's different degrees of what things matter, but here's the other part. Like I was saying before, if for some reason I can't keep my word, because I do reserve the right to change my mind, stuff happens, you never know. Sometimes you just can't keep your word, but I try to be real good about letting whoever I gave my word to, letting them know as soon as I know that I'm not going to be able to keep my word. I don't I don't just kind of pretend like I didn't give my word and then I didn't keep my word. I bring it up and I say, hey, I'm really sorry I'm not going to be able to keep my word on that. Or I'm really sorry I totally forgot that I told you I was going to do that and I didn't do it. Whatever it is, I fess up to it. I acknowledge it as soon as possible and then I let it go. I move on. It's not a big deal. I don't need to, apologize profusely. I mean, depending on what it is. But I do need to acknowledge it before I can then let it go and move on. So that's what I got to say about that. I think keeping your word is super important, like one of the most important, maybe the most valuable thing that you can have, that any of us have, is our word, because it determines our worth, our trustworthiness to others, and like I mentioned, more importantly, to ourselves. Our own self-worth is heavily attached to how we know, how much we keep our word. You know that more than anybody else. And that's another thing. You think other people aren't noticing, maybe. Maybe you think people are too busy to notice, but people do notice. It's like with my bandmate example. I guarantee you they're going to maybe no one will even say anything, although a good chance somebody will bring it up and say something. And they'll give them a little bit of shit, and it's not a big deal. Everybody will let it go. However, whether they say anything or not, they will notice that he didn't mention that I wasn't coming, didn't give him that option, and we kind of already know that he's that kind of person who might kind of not mention the whole truth in order to be a little bit deceptive. He's not a flat out liar by any means. He's not a bad person. I like the guy. He's my friend. However, his word isn't super golden, It's a little bit iffy and it gets iffier anytime he does something like that. Now, if he were to acknowledge that to us as a group and say, or individually, but either way, to say, hey, you know what, I realized in hindsight that was wrong or that was bad and I shouldn't have done that and I feel bad about it and I want you to know I won't do that in the future. With a good friend like that, I would probably, give some credibility back, and that's that acknowledgement piece that I was talking about. Super important. I'd love to know in the comments if you believe that keeping your word is one of the most valuable things, or if you know of something more valuable than your word, or is it okay to just lie and be frivolous with your word? Maybe it doesn't actually really matter. That's just a story that I'm telling myself. Maybe that's a limiting belief. I don't know. I'd love to know your thoughts on it in the comments. And as always, you can find ways to connect with me on all the other social media platforms, as well as email. And if you want to hire me, or you want to shop with me, you want to buy some of my products, or follow any of my affiliate links, that's all in the description below. And until next time, as always, I wish you peace, prosperity, positivity, potential, probability, and